A weekend standoff leads to 2 arrests. The charges the suspects face after a domestic dispute.
Plus, protecting Rockford students, how artificial intelligence is helping RPS detect weapons on campus.
And fighting a national blood shortage. The local center offering incentives for donors.
Live from WTVO 17, this is Eyewitness News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Wendell Edwards. We thank you for being here. Tonight, 2 people are in custody after Rockford police say they surrendered after a standoff. Around
3:30 Sunday afternoon, Rockford officers were called to a home on Vermont Street for reports of a domestic dispute. Police de-escalated the situation, and about 45 minutes later, officers took James Watkins into custody. During a search of the house, officers say they found 2 firearms, one of which was reported stolen, along with ammunition. James Watkins and Felicia Jackson were taken into custody. Watkins faces several charges, including aggravated domestic battery and unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. Jackson is charged with resisting arrest and possession of a firearm with a revoked FOID. A Freeport man is arrested on murder charges in Chicago. Christopher Calvin's charged with first-degree murder and unlawful possession of a weapon by a felon. Police say Calvin shot and killed Tevin Walker in Freeport last November. Calvin's being held in the Cook County Jail awaiting extradition back to Stevenson County.
A local school district gets some new technology to keep students safe. Rockford Public Schools has rolled out Zero Eyes software to all of the district's cameras. Zero Eyes is a program that uses artificial intelligence to detect if a person has a weapon. The software will take an image of the object and send it to a team in Washington, D.C. Then, if a person verifies the weapon is real, an alert will be sent to police and the school's principal. RPS officials say the program does an excellent job at detecting if a weapon is real or fake.
It says, hey, we noticed someone in your parking lot that had a toy Nerf gun. It even picks up that type of thing, but they also send us that image to show us that. So we know it works very, very well, and we know that we've got that human verification piece that we are 100% identifying when a weapon is seen by that particular camera or cameras.
Officials say this software is only focused on item detection, so it does not save images of faces.
The Biden administration wants to make it easier to navigate through customer service.
New policies announced today aim to lower the time and effort spent trying to cancel subscriptions or get through to a human operator. Christiane Cordero has the details from Washington.
Today, the White House is unveiling new policies with a goal of getting consumers better customer service. Among them, aiming to make reaching a real-life representative as easy as one click.
Americans are tired of being played for suckers, and President Biden and Vice President Harris will continue to use every tool available to protect Americans from corporate greed and practices that hit people in their pocketbooks.
Part of this proposal is to reduce so-called doom loops, where customers are stuck with a chatbot or an automated recording instead of an actual person. A Consumer Financial Protection Bureau proposal would require businesses to connect a customer with a human representative by pressing a single button. And a new rule by the Federal Trade Commission would make canceling subscriptions as simple as signing up. So if it takes one click to sign up for a membership, the FTC is proposing it should take one click to back out. This could potentially apply to gym memberships, apps, internet, and cable. These proposals are part of a greater push by the Biden administration to bring daily costs down for families. A recent survey from CNET finds consumers are spending on average $91 a month on subscriptions. It's over $1,000 a year.
Many of these providers are slowly notching up the price of their subscriptions. It's not a lot, it's just $1 or $2 per year for most of them, but that really starts to add up.
Important to note, these new proposals could take months to go into effect. They could also face legal challenges. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Drivers in the Four-City begin to see some savings at the pump. The average price of gas is sitting at $3.63 in Rockford. That's a 9-cent drop in the last week, but it's still a cent higher than a month ago. Experts at Gas Buddy say gas prices should continue to decline as the summer driving season comes to a close. But if economic data comes in better than expected, prices in the Great Lakes region could briefly rise once more. A street on Rockford's west side is closed for construction. Whitman Street from Rockton to Kilburn Avenue is shut off to traffic. Crews will work to replace pavement, upgrade storm sewers and traffic signals, and make sanitary sewer improvements. Residents will still have access to their homes and all mail services during the closure. Construction is expected to be completed by the end of October.
Rockford's temporary casino closes for good as Hard Rock prepares for its grand opening later this month. This morning, the opening act's doors were closed by the casino's final customer. That temporary location opened nearly 3 years ago. Since then, more than 1.5 million guests from all 50 states and 30 countries worldwide traveled here to the Forest City for a chance to win big. The president of Hard Rock, Rockford, says it's a bittersweet moment.
You know, it's part of the process. So we're excited to move from the opening act to the headliner, right? As we move down the street, you know, here in a few weeks, and excited. So everybody's a little bit sad. Guests and team members all night have said, "Man, it's sad," but at the same time, everybody's excited to get the new one up and running.
Hard Rock Cafe, or Hard Rock Casino, is set to open on Thursday, August 29th. The opening kicks off a weekend of celebrations and performances from the Nielsen Trust, Akon, Joan Jett, and Brad Paisley.
A local blood center is celebrating 815 Day early with a week-long blood drive. The Rock River Valley Blood Center is hosting its inaugural 815 blood drive. The event commemorates Rockford's area code. The center's hoping to reach 815 donations amid a critical national blood shortage. All donors have the chance to win prizes, including up to $500 worth of gift cards. The RRVBC accepts both appointments and walk-in donations and operates 4 locations in the state line.
Fighting post-traumatic stress disorder.
Up next, the new treatment that federal officials say needs to undergo more testing.
And coming up at 6, preparing teens for life after school, the new facility teaching Harlem students all about skilled trades.
It was warm but still comfortable out there today as our temperatures made it into the low 80s. That after starting off in the 50s here early this morning. We've got some quiet weather ahead, but rain does return, and some heavy rain at that. Find out what could lead to those heavier rain showers coming up in your most trusted forecast a little later.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team, with Mimi Murphy, Wendell Edwards, Scott Leber, and Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
Welcome back. The FDA has rejected a psychedelic treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder.
Supporters say it would save veterans' lives, but others say the science isn't there. Washington correspondent Maddie Beer-Temple reports on the decision against MDMA.
It's been nearly 25 years since the approval of a new treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's about to get longer. The FDA rejected MDMA-assisted therapy Friday.
That the FDA has said no to this revolutionary treatment is sad news.
California Congressman Lou Correa says the psychedelic drug known as ecstasy shows real promise in easing veterans' PTSD.
They've told me I'll never do it again, but I've confronted my demons, so to speak. I've gotten cured, and I'm ready to move on.
Correa and 60 of his colleagues in the House signed a bipartisan letter to President Biden last week highlighting the benefits of the treatment.
The FDA's decision comes after its advisory panel in June recommended against approval, calling the drug's effectiveness unproven.
If you actually look at the science, this isn't surprising at all.
Dr. Kevin Sabet with the Foundation for Drug Policy Solutions says the FDA made the right move.
These are very powerful, mind-altering, consciousness-altering substances, and we need to really take a lot of care with them.
Sabet says MDMA may be helpful for some, but the broader data doesn't show it's safe and effective long-term. He says it's also hard to study.
These placebos often fail because you kind of know whether you're taking MDMA or mushrooms.
The FDA has asked for more clinical trials, which could take years.
We need to go slower.
But Correa says every day without treatment
is another 20 American veterans that take their own lives.
In Washington, Maddie Beer-Temple.
Well, 80-degree weather helps to kick off the work week.
After the break, Candace tells us about rain chances over the next coming days.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from Chief Meteorologist Candace King.
A beautiful picture coming in on our Mercy Health SkyTrack camera on top of the Supply Corps building overlooking downtown Rockford. This brought to us by Window World. We've had just a few clouds pop up here over the last several hours, while cloudy skies have been found down to our west and south. Temperature-wise, our numbers, we were at 80 degrees the last hour. We've bumped back up to 81 in Janesville, 78 in Freeport, 77 in Rochelle, and 79 degrees in Sterling. Comfortable, even though the temperatures are on the warmer side and really not that far from where our average high should be here for the middle of August. 81 for weather watcher Terry in Genoa. Dew point sits at 57, and that's part of the reason we still have plenty of dry air overhead here late this afternoon. High pressure over the Midwest, however, some stronger winds in the jet stream lining up from Minnesota down through Iowa and then into west central and central Illinois, responsible for the rain showers you see showing up on radar, but that is going to stay to the south. So outside of a little cloud cover here to the west and southwest late this afternoon and evening, our skies for the most part should stay relatively clear. Now with that, temperatures, just as we've been the last couple of nights, will drop back into the 50s. I don't think we'll see widespread low 50s like what we had the last few nights, but another comfortable night. And as our winds are light and we've got that mostly clear sky, little moisture in the atmosphere, that could lead to some shallow ground fog once we get into tomorrow. Tomorrow going to be very similar to today, just a few degrees warmer. So I think we make it up to 84 tomorrow afternoon as a wind comes in from the southeast. Again, a mostly clear sky. Lake breeze develops off to the east of us, so there may be a passing shower or two across our eastern counties like McHenry and eastern DeKalb County, but most of us are going to stay dry, and that dry weather carries over into Wednesday. Now Wednesday we'll likely see an increase in some of the cloud cover. That's as a warm front begins to move in from the west. With that, moisture does increase, but it's going to be battling quite a bit of dry air. So I don't think we'll necessarily see our first kind of round of rain come in during the afternoon. There may be a very light sprinkle or light shower to the west and southwest, but a better chance for some of those showers and even some thunderstorms will come in overnight Wednesday into early Thursday. And depending on how fast our air mass is able to recover Thursday afternoon will determine whether or not we see some additional thunderstorms during that time, some of which would pose a low-end risk for a strong storm or two. But let's talk about the rain, because we could actually have some pretty heavy rainfall. What we're looking at is the amount of moisture that will potentially be in the air late Wednesday night into Thursday. So those brighter colors, or at least the oranges and yellows you see, so I guess those would be those darker colors, indicate higher levels of moisture in the atmosphere. And anytime you have that high moisture lining up with a warm front, that could potentially lead to that heavy rain. Well, why is that? Well, we've got some stronger winds that'll be working in the lower part of the atmosphere, otherwise known as the low-level jet. As those stronger winds run into that moisture and run into that front, we could see several rounds of rain come through. So what does that mean? Well, it leads to the potential there for maybe 1 to even 2 inches of rain that could come down during that time, Wednesday into Thursday. So it all depends really on where exactly that warm front sets up. So that'll be something we'll be watching, and that's really the time period that we see that heavy rain potential. So from 57 tonight up to 84 tomorrow, or 85 on Wednesday. You might notice the humidity start to go up a little bit there for Wednesday. Thursday may feel a bit more humid as well. And then we'll hold on to just a sprinkle chance as we look through the rest of the week going into the weekend, and our temperatures likely staying in the 80s.
So we need the rain.
We do need the rain. We're not to a point where we're dealing with, drought conditions just yet, but it is getting dry because it's been a while since we've had the rainfall. Right. So we're running below here for July. So yeah, we do need the rain.
Thank you, Candace.
Thanks, Candace. Scott's in next with sports. The Rivets face a must-win situation tonight in the Northwoods League playoffs.
And the surging Cubs are still in the hunt for a playoff spot. Scott gives us an updated look at the wild card picture.
Now sports with Sports Director Scott Leber.
Rivets playoff baseball will be playing out tonight at Rivets Stadium. It is a must-win game for them against the Kalamazoo Growlers. It's a 6:35 start. Kalamazoo won the first game in the best-of-3 series last night in Michigan, 12-7. They scored 7 earned runs off Rivets ace Landon Southern. The Rivets were out-hit 13-7. The Rivets will go with Trey Benjamin as their starting pitcher tonight. If the Rivets win this game, it'll force a decisive Game 3 tomorrow night. That also would be played at Rivets Stadium. Cubs and Sox got a rare Sunday off yesterday. They are back in action tonight. The Sox host the Yankees. Cubs are playing in Cleveland. And the Cubs have won 4 straight, and they're very much in the race for the final wild card spot in the National League. The Braves are holding that spot down now, half a game ahead of the Mets. The Cardinals and Giants are both a game and a half out of that last wild card spot. And the Cubs, as you see there, they're only 3 games out. Well, high school football season has the green light in the state line. Today has been the first day of practices. This is Lena Winslow's practice this morning. I'll begin my 2-a-day previews with Lena Winslow tomorrow at 5 and 6, and I'll have Rockford Lutheran at 9 and 10. The season kicks off 2 weeks from this Friday. Well, the NIU Huskies are into their 3rd week of practices. Head coach Thomas Hammock is very high on his defense this season, especially the defensive front. 7 D linemen return with lots of experience, led by Rasheem Thomas. He was the Huskies' leading tackler last year. Devontae O'Malley is a preseason All-MAC first-team pick at tackle. And junior Roy Williams could be ready for a breakout season. Williams had 3.5 sacks last season.
My job is to, disrupt create as much havoc as I possibly can. Either that's in the run or the pass.
Do you feel like this could be the best defensive front you've had here?
Without a doubt. I think these guys have matured. They've gotten better. And we just got to keep them healthy and get them to the dance. And so they're playing together. They're playing as one unit. And I'm excited to watch those guys play.
The Packers have 1 preseason game under their belts. Next up, they travel to Denver for a game with the Broncos this Sunday night, and we're going to have that again on Fox 39 starting at 7 o'clock. Fox Network has another game scheduled at the same time, the Saints against the 49ers. We're going to show that one on Rockford's My Network TV. That's sports. We'll be right back.
Well, we've had a nice string of days, but we do need a little bit of rain.
We do need the rain, and I think we'll get a decent amount for some later this week, yeah. But the dry weather and the weather we had this weekend, I was up north, and ooh, it was nice and comfortable. I know we got comfortable here too, especially some overnight lows dropped into the low 50s, so it was nice and cool. Yeah, a little taste of fall here for the early August time frame. Now our temperatures will be going up as we look through the next couple of days. We made it into the low 80s here this afternoon. Tomorrow we'll be back into the 80s. Our first Warn interactive radar brought to us by Rockford Glass and More. Nice and clear and quiet for tonight. So if you want to try and view the northern lights again, I think you may have a decent shot at that anytime after 9-10 o'clock. Kind of get away from the city lights and look to the north right on the horizon, although you may be able to see them a little further up when you look into the sky. 84 for tomorrow, 85 on Wednesday with rain Wednesday night.
Thank you, Kate.
And thanks for joining us. We'll see you at 6.